Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. How are you doing?
Yeah, of course.
Israel. My daughter in Israel. She's on the verge of breaking. She got her nanny that was recommended by the social services of Israel, and she assaulted her.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Or I think tonight we better say Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos. And
Or
welcome.
just Shabbos. You just say
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
We are so happy to welcome you, as well as our special guest, Avi Hoffman. You'll hear a little bit more about him later. But meanwhile, he is going to help us out on this first song of welcome. And I know that you will join in as soon as we start, because we all know we need Shabbat. We need this time together. So here we go. Where do we start, Avi?
Good words.
Shalom, shalom,
Shalom.
so sein, shalom, shalom,
Shalom.
shalom,
Shalom.
so sein, shalom, ya papa, yam, bam, bam, ya papa, yam, bam, bam, ya papa, yam, bam, bam. Ya papa, yam, bam, bam.
Shabbos. Shabbos.
Shabbos,
Shabbos.
Soll sein,
Soll sein Shabbos.
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 Soll sein, soll sein, soll sein Shabbos.
Ja, ba, 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 ja, ba, 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 yam, bam, bam. Ja, ba, 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 ja, ba, 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 yam, bam, bam. Ja, ba, 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 ja, ba, 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 yam, bam, bam. Ja, ba, 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 ja, ba, 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 yam, bam, bam.
And that's all we need is a little peace and a little Shabbos, and we're good to go.
That's so great. So we want to make sure that everyone is welcomed. Turn to someone and wish them a good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
We're also welcoming those who are watching our service on our live webcast. Good to be able to extend our walls and welcome everyone into our community. Shabbos should be a time of welcoming. It should be a time of gathering, and especially during this time when so many of us are feeling like it's a little bit of an uncertain start to the year. We need a little bit of peacefulness. Just to remind ourselves that we can leave our concerns at least a little bit and just enjoy what it means to be together as a community. We need it. We need that community now more than ever.
We are, did you mention we're welcoming our?
I did.
Okay. Our online guests.
You guys, we welcome you.
And we also are happy to welcome the new director of the Oregon Jewish Museum and Center for Holocaust Education, Rebecca Sobel. So nice to have you with us. And it's our pleasure and honor to call up to help us bring in more light for Shabbat, Susan Milstein, who is the chairperson of our Adult Education Committee, and so without her hard work, Avi wouldn't be here. So we thank you. And also, I want to mention that we feed, I don't know how many hundreds of people on Christmas Day, and that would not have happened without Susan in the kitchen as the sous chef, and also Sally Rosenfeld. So thank you for that mitzvah.
Big part of that annual experience for years and years.
So you can
So, oops, I'm on the wrong page.
Page two.
Wrong page, okay. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Where is it?
No, let's use this.
Just try.
Do you mind? Sorry.
This is very high tech.
You hold my hand.
Okay. Baruch.
Oops.
Baruch. Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. That's too high.
Asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav
V'tzivanu lehadlik ner shachar.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. We
We-
forgot to mention.
We have been holding the custom of including another light when we light the Shabbat candles to keep in mind those captive still in Gaza. This is now the 12th week, and we are holding them in our hearts and hoping that they will return to their families and have a Shabbat at peace. We continue on page 6. We invite you
Five.
to page 5. I invite you to please rise for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri harafel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat chodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hitchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim, ki banu bacharta, ve'otanu kidashta, Mikol Amim, V'Shabbat Kodshecha, Be'ahava u'v'ratzon, Hinchatanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Chaim.
Please be seated. We continue on page 20. L'chadodi likrat kala, come we together welcome the bride of Shabbat.
I didn't do it on purpose. I actually messed up with my scheduling. We don't have a pianist tonight, and I take all the blame or credit. However, it is kind of sweet in this kind of thinking about the more of a Yiddish style of a service, you know, to just have everything be our pure, beautiful singing voices. And it's really wonderful to hear all of you. So keep it coming and keep singing with us. We are going to be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Shamur zechor b'diburechat, hishmianu el miuchad Adonai echad, u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet, v'nitila
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Likrat Shabbat chuvnecha, ki imekor ha'beracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Hitoreri, ki va'orech, kumi uri, shidaberi, kvod Adonai, alai nigla, lecha dodi likrat kala,
b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat לקראת קלה, בני Shabbat מקבל. Please rise, turn towards the door, welcome the bride of Shabbat.
בואי ושלום, עטרת פנה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמונה, עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה,
בני Shabbat מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני Shabbat מקבלה. Page 27. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Baruch Adonai Morach leolam vaed.
Baruch Adonai Morach leolam vaed.
Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever.
Baruch Adonai Hamari Varavim.
Page 32. Everlasting love, you've offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, when we lie down, when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever.
Baruch Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. Read together in the middle of page 36. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Take to heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God.
Adonai Elohim, Amen.
Amen.
We have had the minhag, the custom, in these past weeks since October 7th of attaching Am Yisrael Chai to our redemption prayer, to the Michamocha, because we know that when we feel a sense of surety as a people, that we are united in the face of all that is happening, all the pain in this world, that together we can create that movement towards a time where we will be finally at peace, where all peoples will be living in peace and redeemed. So let's begin by holding our people close and singing together. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Yai lai lai, yai la 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 la, yai lai lai la 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 la, yai lai lai, lai la 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 la, yai la lai lai, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedor b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Malachutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeh yom nifnei Moshe Miriam, Zelianu ve'amru, Zelianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
Amar ki fad Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu. As it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming the people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
We continue with this interpretation of our Hashkivenu prayer on page 43.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Baruch atah Adonai porei sukat shalom aleinu, al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of the people Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Vishamru
Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Beni uvein bnei Israel, oti leolam, oti leolam.
Veshamru Bnei Yisrael et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. Page 46, we rise for tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'sofer Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'nei Kulam Yivnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezra Sarah. Atah Gibor Elam Adonai, Mechayem Kol Atarav Yoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, U'morid HaGashem, Mechayel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh Hakol Berachamim Rahim, Somech Noflim V'Rofech Holim, U'matir Asulim, U'mekayem Emunato, L'Shelei Afar, Milchamocha Ba'kerubot, U'nidom Elav, Melech Levi, U'mechayeh, U'matzliach Yeshua, V'nemanat Ha'lehachayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol.
Page 52. HaKadosh v'shimcha kadosh v'kadoshim b'chol yom yalalu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el HaKadosh.
Amen.
Please be seated. Pardon. Page 53. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. O God, let our eyes be filled with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Page 57. Yitzay Adonai Eloheinu b'amcha Yisrael tfilatam ba'avat takabel v'tilhi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha.
אתה אדוני, שאותך לבדך בעיר אנה אבוך, מותים אנחנו לך.
Our prayer reminds us to give thanks, to not just be takers, but to be givers, to be giving of thanks, to be giving of appreciation, to recognize the beauty in the world around us, the gifts that we've been given, the incredible people who surround us as well. We know how to complain. We need to be reminded how to thank. So we give our thanks to God with that Modim Anachnu Lach, and we. You have something you want to say?
I do.
You do? Okay.
Before the last Shabbat, before the secular year ended, we asked people to share a little bit about what they were grateful for, or what they were thinking about from that past year that had filled their lives, and it was so beautiful. So I was thinking, since this is the first Shabbat of this new secular year, let's do it again. It was just a wonderful
Well, we
moment.
don't have. Oh, we do have a pass-around microphone, actually.
We do?
I don't know if we can get on.
Don't close that.
I'm not going to close that. Nope, we do not have a microphone. That's okay. So the problem is that the people who are watching will not be able to hear.
We'll
So we'll
repeat.
try to repeat
We'll
a little
repeat.
bit. But we'll do this very quickly. But if there is a particular piece of gratitude that you're holding in your heart right now and you want to share, Sherry.
Our 51st wedding anniversary.
51st wedding anniversary, Mazel
Mazel
Tov.
tov.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
There we go.
I'm grateful that my cousin gets to come and visit and perform and
How nice.
Lenny says he's grateful for his cousin Avi Hoffman, and I am too.
For old friends and family and my other cousins over there.
More cousins,
More cousins.
family and friends. Beautiful.
We thought we'd let all the family go on Thanksgiving, but now everybody's back and we're all together. It's so great. Any other words of appreciation, gratitude that we want to share?
I'm grateful for Lyra, a new friend who has brought me to Beth Israel and to the warmth and beauty of your services.
You are wise to have a friend like Myra.
That is true.
Anyone,
That's
any friend,
Thank you.
Myra's a friend of us as well. Welcome.
Beautiful.
So glad to have you with us. All right, welcome. For all of these things and more, we offer thanks to God, and we hold that sense of appreciation.
We're going to take a few quiet moments now to reflect. Maybe you want to think about all the other things that are filling your heart right now, or dreams and hopes that you have for this coming year. So let's take that moment of quiet reflection, and we'll end that with a song of peace.
We'll decide when to end. May the one who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, let peace descend on us, on all the people of Israel, on all of the world. And we say, Amen. We add a prayer for the kidnapped. Shomer Yisrael, guardian of Israel, we call to you with fervent plea and prayer to bless and protect the civilian men, women, and children brutally kidnapped by Hamas, held in captive in Gaza, along with members of Israel's defense forces missing in action or held captive. May it be your will speedily and soon to bring them out from darkness, the shadow of death. May the Holy One of blessing break their bonds, deliver them from their distress, release them swiftly back to the loving embrace of their dear ones. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
We add a prayer for those in our community who are ill. If there's anyone in your life who you feel could use an extra blessing right now and you'd like to share their name out loud, we invite you to do so.
David Sherman.
Thank you.
Just call out.
Thank you. Thank you. Tuvia and David Dvora.
Miriam Baskai.
We'll sing our simple prayer of healing. Just repeat after me. Elna refanala.
Elna rifanala.
Elna refanala.
Elna rifanalo.
Elna refanalanu.
Elna rifanalanu.
Elna refanalanu.
Elna rifanalanu.
God, please heal her. Please heal him. Please heal all of us. We say together, Amen. Well, some of you who have been here a while at Beth Israel may recall, I think it was maybe 11 years ago, that we did a fundraiser that was called Better Than Broadway. And the reason that it was called that was because I had been in a show in the late 80s that was called The Chic of Avenue B. And that Better Than Broadway response was what we used to get every night when we would walk out to do the show. So it is so much my delight and honor to have a dear friend, Avi Hoffman, who was in that 7-member cast that used to go over to my grandma's house for latkes after the show, here with us. Avi was recently awarded the congressional recognition. He was invited to the Vatican to meet Pope Francis and was inducted to the Bronx Jewish Hall of Fame for his lifetime of work advancing Jewish culture and Holocaust awareness. He has been named Performer of the Year by New York Press Magazine. The New York Times called him a sage, and the Jewish Voice called him a national treasure. And once you have heard him speak and sing, you will say the same. So it is my delight to invite Avi to teach us about Yinglish. Yeah.
Shenim Dank, thank you. I am so excited and honored to be here. As a matter of fact, they used to say, before they said it was better than Broadway, they used to say, I laughed, I cried. It was better than Broadway. There was always that little introduction first. So, as I said earlier, I am incredibly grateful to be here and to renew friendships from many, many years ago and to reconnect with relatives who I didn't even know existed before 1994. Very quickly, I was born a child of Holocaust survivors. And so that makes me a little different than most people who aren't, because we were brought up with enormous trauma, but we were also brought up with enormous joy because we survived. Our parents survived the worst that you could possibly imagine. You can't even imagine how bad it was. And we survived. They survived and gave birth to us. And we carried the torch forward. And so we were given this incredible depression, but next to the depression, we were given this incredible joy. And for me in particular, that joy was associated with a language, because my parents, who escaped, my father survived Auschwitz, my mother survived Siberia, they came to America and decided that the most important thing was to keep the language alive. And the language was Yiddish. That was my Mame Loshen, my mother tongue. And so I don't know how many of you are familiar. Is there anybody here who actually speaks Yiddish? Lenny, a little bit. A bissel in the back. There, a bissel over here, a bissel over there. There's a saying in Yiddish. A bissel mit a bissel macht a viele Schissel. See, it makes you laugh, and I love that. A bissel is a little. If you take a little and you add a little bit more, you end up with a full bowl. A viele Schissel. So I'm going to do, you know what, I should probably time myself because I've never actually done this in such a short way. I was told I have 30 minutes. Normally I go on and on and on. So I don't know how many of you know how rich and deep Yiddish is. It's over 1,000 years old. And there are more Yiddish words. Do anybody want to take a wild guess how many Yiddish words are in the English in the Webster's Dictionary? Anybody? 5,000 Yiddish words that are in the English language in the Webster's Dictionary, more than any other language. And all of those 5,000 words are now known as Yinglish. If you take English and you mix it with Yinglish, you end up with Yinglish. And so I'm going to celebrate Yinglish today. So I want to introduce you very quickly to the king of Yinglish. His name was Eli Bass. And he, as far as I'm concerned, was probably the greatest Yinglish songwriter in the world. And he became very famous in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and a little bit into the 50s. He was writing original songs. So he wrote an album called Bass Ackwards. Take your time. Figure it out. So I'm going to play a song for you. It's only 3 minutes, and here it is, and you're going to follow along with the lyrics. And I bet you will recognize these Yiddish words.
Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me.
'Cause I'm off to Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Southland, Southland, ich bin geheim.
For that gehackte Leber and that sugar cane.
Southland, Southland.
I'm gonna see my cousin Schlein. So give me $6 worth on an Abish to Bird. I'm gonna hop on that Hauptnutz train.
I miss my mammy's latkes, my daddy and his gatkes. I miss that gefilte fish and that crane. I'm going back where life's a bubble and the magnolias smell from knubbel. Number 4 Hummintosh Lane. I'll see my brother Beisha and we'll play Pisha Pisha. So Yoisha Moisha, where is that train? That takes me back to my old shtetl, where we slept zipping in a bettel. Number 4, Humintash Lane. I'm gonna see my alcoholic Uncle Shamilik. He's getting shicker neath those hickory trees. Well then, he only dresses once a year, and when he presses you can hear the suction from the Lukshan and cheese. I long to see my Zayden, who paid my way through Cheder at number 4 Humintash Lane.
Ah, yes. Why, I can see it all now. I can see my little old Bubba, Dixie Leela Peters, sitting on that old rocking chair sewing up the kishkin for the Derma Festival. While back in the kitchen is my own little mammy, standing there looking so pretty with a Valgahos in her hand. She's knacing a tag, flicking the chickens and hanging the puppies out in the yard to dry. While Grandpappy, Robert E. Peters, is out on the Grivenous plantation, and I can hear him now yelling at the top of his voice. Wriggle that fence.
Lift that borscht and hide
that stop. The
revenue is a-coming.
Take it to Hills, Mishbucha. Don't stand there like Goyla. Come on now. Why, I can see old Colonel Schwartz and Massa Epstein. Why, they're sitting there.
They're sitting in a sukkah.
That mortgage-covered vine. Yeah, man,
What fun it's gonna be when once more I'll see that Unterwäsch hanging on the Mason-Dixon line.
Gonna see that Morris chair.
Genius.
To see if Morris is still there.
At number 4, heading for, I said number 4, Mintosh Lane. Du Herz? So, you know, I played that because Yinglish, and I actually taught a course at the University of Miami in Florida called Yiddish Theater, the Foundation of Modern Culture. And it's really fascinating because if you go back in time to when Yiddish came to America, we're talking about the 1880s and the early 1900s, when millions of Jews escaped the pogroms of Eastern Europe. Fiddler on the Roof, right? Anna Tefka, Anna Tefka. They come to America. Well, they brought with them more than just themselves. They brought their culture. They brought their language and their music and their theater and their movies and their comedy. And they infused it into the culture. Before there was Broadway, there was Yiddish theater. Before there was Hollywood, there were these Yiddish refugees who went out west, here out west, and down to LA and created the film industry. So, words. Ich ben kaheim. Anybody? I miss home. Gehackte Leber. Chopped liver. Zucker. Sugar. You see, you know more Yiddish than you think. Eberstell. Upper. The upper Pullman berth. Chap. To catch. Halb noch 7. 7:30. Latkes, gatkes, gefilte fish, chrein, knubbel. Knubbel. Knubbel is garlic. So the magnolia, I'm going back where life's a bubble, and the magnolias smell from knubbel. This is genius! Pisha Pesha was a card game. Yoisha is justice. Shtetl, everybody knows what a shtetl is. Zibn, the number 7. Shicker is drunk. Lokshan, I mean, on and on. My favorite of all of this has got to be what fun it's gonna be when once more I see that Unterwäsch, underwear, that Unterwäsch hanging on the Mason-Dixon line. I mean, come on. This is genius. So what is Yinglish? The definition in the Webster's Dictionary is English marked by numerous borrowings from Yiddish. So how do languages get created? Languages are fused. They are fusion. English didn't just pop up as English. English is a fusion language. It has German and Anglo-Saxon and Latin. Well, Yiddish is a fusion language. It's a fusion language of German, High German, Hochdeutsch, and Hebrew, because the Torah and the Bible was brought with the Jews into that European area. And then it has all these other Slavic languages, a little bit of Latin. Siempre deschmate. Very famous Latin Yiddish saying. But there's not enough time to go into the ganze Megillah. Now it's amazing because nowadays you can't turn on the TV without hearing these words. The definition of Megillah from the Webster's Dictionary, a long involved story or account, the whole Megillah. So in celebrating Yiddish, I've decided that the greatest and most recognized Yiddish word is chutzpah. The definition in the Webster's Dictionary, supreme self-confidence, nerve, gall. Took a lot of chutzpah to stand up to him the way she did. How many of you have ever heard of Leo Rostin? He wrote a book called The Joys of Yiddish. He also wrote a book called The Joys of Yinglish. I highly recommend it. He says, chutzpah, gall, brazen nerve, effrontery, incredible guts, presumption plus arrogance, such as no other word and no other language can do justice to. Leo Rostin called Yiddish the Robin Hood of languages. It stole from the rich languages and gave to the poor Jews of Europe. You'll all recognize this. Alms for the poor, alms for the poor. Here, Reb Mendel, here's a kopek. Only 1 kopek? Last week you gave me 2 kopeks. I had a bad week. So if you had a bad week, why should I suffer? Fiddler on the Roof, right? That is chutzpah. Here's another chutzpahdik story. After much pleading, a young woman agreed to meet a prospective husband that the matchmaker had told her about. But she said on one condition. She insisted that she must see him nude first. What chutzpah, said the furious matchmaker. But after very strenuous objections, finally the man agreed, and he appeared before her stark naked. "Nu?" asked the matchmaker. "Did you like him?" "No," said the girl. "His nose is a little crooked." See, now that's chutzpah. All right, here's another great English word in the Webster's Dictionary. You ready? You all know this word. Bupkis. The definition, it's a noun. The least amount. Beans won't win bupkis this year. Nothing received. They got bupkis for their efforts. Let's take a moment to explore this great word bupkis. Okay? The etymology of the word bupkis. It comes from Yiddish. It's short for koze bupkis, which are goat turds. Literally, that's what that word means. It's the plural of bubke, babke, the diminutive of bub, babin, Slavic origin, akin to the Polish bubin. Leo Rostin in The Joys of Yinglish says, bupkis must be uttered with either scorn, sarcasm, indignation, or contempt. The man who exclaims bupkis is the man who understands the place of pride in the protocol of humiliation. Only the proud can say bupkis. Now, you may say that that is a bobemaise. Now, bobemaise, anybody know what a bobemaise is? It's what? A grandmother's story. Everybody else agree? Okay, you're wrong. So it's interesting, because that's what everybody thinks. But actually, the Bobe Maise were stories that came from the rabbi of Bov, which was a city in Eastern Europe. The Bove Rebbe used to tell great stories. And so they became Bove Maises. And when it came to America, it became Bobe Maises, and therefore it became the Bobe Maise. So here's another word that everybody knows, right? Michigan, which means crazy. A mishigas, a mishigane, crazy, foolish. This is one of the most recognizable Yiddish words. If you turn on the TV and you watch the news, all the news anchors say, wow, that's Michigan. Maybe in Miami. Well, I don't know about that. But I do hear it all the time. So here's a little Meshugana story. A man is in an insane asylum, and he insists on having kosher meals. Finally, the director of the institution complies, and the next Sabbath, the man is standing outside in the garden smoking a cigar. The director says, wait a minute. You made me go out and get you kosher meals, and now you're sitting here smoking on the Sabbath? And the guy says, well, you know, that's my ganze mishigas. But what's in a name, right? Shakespeare said, what's in a name? A rose by any other name. So many Yiddish names are derived from different words and names in other languages. For instance, Bunim is a famous Jewish name derived from French, bon homme. Schneier comes from signor. Sprinze, from Fiddler on the Roof. The little daughter, Sprinze, comes from the Spanish Esperanza. Tolce comes from the Italian dolce. Yente, you all know Yente, Yentl, right? I.B. Singer wrote Yentl. Comes from the French gentil. Zalman comes from Solomon, Fivish comes from Fabius, and Theodore comes from Theodoros. Of course, today's Yinglish names are very different. Justin, Brooke, Jesus. All right, here's a joke. Two Jewish women meet in the year 2118. One says to the other, what's new? The other one says, I just had a baby. She says, Mazel tov, a baby, how wonderful. A boy or a girl? She says, a little boy. Says, oi, how wonderful, a little boy. What did you name him? She says, well, we decided to name him Shlomo, after his grandfather Scott. Any Scots here? So, yeah, I know. We all know what this is. Anti-Semitism is on the rise again. Did it ever stop? Only now it's more in the open. But you see, we've been cursed in every generation. But if you have to curse at somebody, if you ever meet one of these guys and they go, ooh, you Jew, you should curse them back. But if you're going to curse at anybody, you got to curse them in Yiddish. Because curses in Yiddish, see, this is a Talmudic, these are inspired by the Talmud. Yiddish curses are unbelievable, right? So it's a sophisticated art form. Leo Rosten, in the book The Joys of Yiddish, wrote, Yiddish is a tongue that never takes its tongue out of its cheek. And there's nothing more tongue-in-cheek than Yiddish curses. I'd like to share a few with you. The most famous Yiddish curse in the world, I actually will not share with you because we're in a temple and there are young children here, and it deals with bodily functions in the ocean. Right? You know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please ask the people around you after the sermon and they'll tell you. But the next most famous Yiddish curse in the world is this one. Wachsen sollst du wie a Zibberle mit dem Kopf in Dreht. Now, you've all heard this. You should grow like an onion with your head in the ground. See, now that is a beautiful curse. Here's another one. Alle 10 sollen dir herausfallen, nur eine soll dir bleiben, auf Zunweite. In other words, you should lose all of your teeth except one. And that one tooth should have the world's worst toothache. See, that, my friends, is a curse. There's another one, I don't have an illustration for it, but I love it. It goes, Deine Zähne sollen sich zerbeißen. Your teeth should get very angry. And a rupschling in dem Kopf. Your teeth should get so angry that they swallow and chew up your head. I mean, come on, that's genius. This is one of my favorites too. This is a little long, it's a little extensive, but it's brilliant. And if you happen to recognize the mansion in the background, it's just how I feel. Soll haben 100 Häuser. He should have 100 mansions. Und in jeder Häuser 100 Zimmer. Every mansion should have 100 rooms. Und jeder Zimmer 20 Betten. And every room should have 20 beds. Und soll nicht können schlafen. And he should suffer from terrible insomnia. Und soll sich walgern eine ganze Nacht in alle Betten. And he should toss and turn all night long in every single one of those beds. That, my friends, that is a curse. Here's another one. I love this. Der Malach HaMoves soll sich in ihm verlieben. The angel of death should fall in love with him. Soll verdienen Millionen und bezahlen nur für Doktoren. May he make millions and spend it all on doctors. See, that is the brilliance of Yiddish. It's genius. You give a compliment, you should make millions and spend it all on doctors. This is also one of my favorites. Mit Gilgul soll werden in a Hängleichter, bei Tug soll hängen und bei Nacht soll brennen. He should die and be reincarnated as a magnificent chandelier. He should hang all day and burn all night. Brilliant. Early in the 20th century, there was a great Yiddish actor named Boris Tomaszewski, whose grandson happens to be a very famous classical music conductor named Michael Tilson Thomas. Comes from Yiddish theater. He did a PBS special called The Tomaszewskis, all about his grandfather and his grandmother. In any event, there is a story told about Boris Tomaszewski, who was in a Yiddish production of Hamlet. There was a lot of Yiddish Shakespeare, by the way, and after the show, the curtain fell, the audience applauded, and they went crazy, it was brilliant, and suddenly they started shouting, "Author! Author!" Needless to say, the author wasn't there, and the playwright didn't come out. The audience got very upset, and Tomaszewski came out on stage, and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that Shakespeare is dead." The audience was devastated. Devastated. And one woman cried out, "Poor Shakespeare! He didn't even live to see his own play." Which brings us to shtick. You all know shtick, right? Webster's Dictionary, definition of shtick: a usually comic or repetitious performance or routine, a bit, one's special trait, interest, or activity, his bag, he's alive and well, he's doing his shtick out in Hollywood. So I am a very privileged and lucky man because I got to work with some of the greatest shtick actors and great actors. I even got to work with Ida Ray. But I also got to work with this guy, Five-ish Finkel. Now, you may recognize the face, you may not recognize the name, but he was in Picket Fences. He won an Emmy Award. He was nominated twice. He was in Boston Public, another great series. And I got to work with him before he became a big star. And he used to tell this story. He said when he got to Picket Fences, the director handed him a trash can and said, "Five-ish, I want you to throw away all of the shtick that you have from the Yiddish theater." And Five-ish looked at him and laughed and said, "Boychik, that can isn't big enough." So one of the things Five-ish taught me, and he was brilliant, and if you come to my show tomorrow night, I will be doing a couple of routines that I learned from Five-ish, but connected to shtick is schmaltz. Now, you've probably heard of schmaltz. Again, these are all words that everybody knows. Jews and non-Jews alike know these words. The definition of schmaltz: sentimental or florid music or art, sentimentality. The origin and the etymology of the word schmaltz literally means chicken fat or goose fat. Delicious. So there was a man who couldn't find a wife for his son. And he went to the rabbi. He said, "Rabbi, I come with a heavy heart. God gave me an unattractive son. I can't marry him off." And the rabbi asked the man, "How unattractive is he?" And the man says, "Well, if he were lying on a plate of herring, you wouldn't know the difference." The rabbi thought about it for a second. He turned to the man and he said, "What kind of herring?" And the man sadly responds, "Schmaltz." "Too bad," says the rabbi. "If it was Matyas herring, he'd have a better chance." Schmaltz, Yinglish, food, such a big part of Jewish life. It was also a great source of comedy material up in the Catskill Mountains, where Yinglish thrived for the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. How many of you went to the Catskill Mountains? Anybody? Wow, look at that. You see, even here in Portland. The Catskills were a very unique sociological phenomenon that will never again be repeated in the history of the world. Hundreds of thousands of our people went up to the mountains every summer for one primary purpose. They went up to the big resorts, Grossinger's, the Concord, the Stevensville, the Nevele. They went for one primary purpose: to eat. It's amazing how much food these people consumed. This is the actual breakfast. Oh, sorry, no, I took it out. So there was a breakfast menu at the Concord that went on for pages, and the lunch menu was even longer. It's amazing how hungry these people were. I think it was Alan King who used to say, "My mother was the worst cook in the world. Everything had to cook for 4 days. She never believed the butcher killed it. My mother made chicken soup with fat on the top. It used to congeal. You could skate on it." And the great Jewish humorist Sam Levinson talked about his mother's cooking. He said, "My mother used to buy 1 pound of hamburger meat and make 3 pounds of hamburgers. You know how? We had a slogan in our house: old rolls never die. Everything went into a hamburger. After a while, my mother learned to make hamburgers. She made chopped meat completely without meat. I liked it that way." The biggest stars in America got their start in the Catskills, in the world of Yiddish and English. Needless to say, Alan King and Sam Levinson, Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack, Carl Reiner, Mel Brooks, Jackie Mason, Woody Allen, the list goes on, and they all came to be known by a very specific term, the Tumblers. Now, I had the privilege of meeting a lot of these people and working in the Catskills, and so I'm going to do I only have 2 minutes left, so I'm going to do a quick little bit from the Catskills. Welcome to the Catskill Mountains. I can tell just by looking at you all, you're all very, very light eaters. As soon as it gets light outside, you start eating. What about those waiters, huh? Talk about elegance, talk about punctuality. You could talk about it, but you'll never find it. I overheard one guy talking to the waiter. He said, "Waiter, an hour ago I ordered the lamb chops. Did you forget them? Or did I eat them already?" "Are you the waiter I gave my order to?" "Of course. Why do you ask?" "By now I expected a much older man." Three guys are sitting at a table. The waiter comes in, he says, "What can I get you guys to drink?" Anyway, they all ordered iced tea. One guy pipes up, he says, "Waiter, please, can you make sure the glass is clean?" A few minutes later, the waiter comes in, "3 iced teas. Who ordered the clean glass?" So as we bring our little celebration of Yinglish to a close, I hope you enjoyed my kosher ham, just like Booby used to make. Just like Booby used to make. In conclusion, I would like to say, don't hock my china. How many of you have heard that saying? Almost all of you. How many of you have actually said that saying? A lot of you. Okay, so here's the problem. It's wrong. It's not "don't hock my china." It actually comes from Yiddish, "Hack mir nicht kein Chainik." Don't bang on my tea kettle. But very few people know that, and very few people know the etymological roots of this saying. Chai, chainik. Chai is Russian for tea, and a chainik is Russian for a tea kettle. This is an example of how Yiddish fused with Russian. And Russian words became part of the Yiddish language, and eventually it came. But why bang on my tea kettle? Anybody? So the old tea kettles in the old country, you put them on the fire. When the water started to boil, the top of the chainik would start to bang and make noise. So don't hock me nicht kein Chainik. Don't bang on my tea kettle. And that became "don't hock my china." Needless to say, we Jews are a phenomenal people. We are one of a kind, enduring, courageous, brilliant, ingenious, innovative, and incredibly modest and insecure, and that's why we love them. So I hope you enjoyed my lecture. It was a machaya to be with you, and have a very good Shabbat. And tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, I will be doing my show called Too Jewish. And I've done it thousands of times all over the world, and I'm honored to bring it to Portland, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow night. Thank you. And I'm only 2 minutes over.
Fantastic. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, I just, so you know, in addition to Avi tomorrow night, which is amazing, he's going to be accompanied by our own Tim Ribner, and we'll also have a klezmer band there, so that walking in, you're going to hear some wonderful klezmer, and on the way out, we're going to do a little klez jam with Avi. So it's going to be an amazing night. Please tell folks about it.
You can practice all your English.
Yes, you can, and your Yinglish.
Don't hock his Chainik, though.
You know, I think the whole theme of our adult ed program this year is so beautiful to examine, like Avi was saying, these languages of our people that draw so much and tell so much of our history and our values from all over the world, as you could tell from what he was talking about. So we'll keep studying together and unpacking Yiddish and then Ladino as the year goes on. But first, we're going to finish up our service.
We're going to finish our service, and then we have a little, some treats outside, so we can have a little something to eat. But I appreciate, Avi, that part of what we do by celebrating these languages is thinking about the past and thinking about those who lived in this world of the languages, the people who came from generations before, and some of those people that we've lost even more recently. So we'll take a moment just to think about those in our community who have recently died. We honor the memory of Jim Blattner, Rabbi David Ellenson, Janet LaRosa, and Harriet Moses. And we honor the memory of those whose yortzites, the anniversary of their death, occurs during this time. Shirley Abrams, Maurice Albert, Leo Arfer, Abraham Avigor, Benjamin Backer, Norman Barnett, Ben Besser, Florence Blum, Hannah Bodner, June J. Bergen, Dennis Cash, Barbara Cohen, Bernard Cohen, Annie D. Davis, Jacob J. Davis, Rosalie DeWitz, Charles K. Diamond, Morris Director, Harriet Dobrin, Stella Eddie Doran, Joseph Endler, Yossi Joseph Jacob Epstein, Jerome G. Foyer, Shirley Fischel, Robert A. Friedenrich, Stella Georges, Joseph Glasgow, Paul Goldman, Philip Grayson, Samuel Greenberg, John Greenblatt, Ben Hoover, Walter Hyman, Joseph Idelson, Catherine Idelson, Bertha K. Israel, Samuel Jackson, Lynette Felton Jamerson, Philip Judd, Harry Kaplan, Evelyn Kaiser, Benjamin Kurz, Roberta Klock, Morris Lefkitz, Dr. Richard Leschgold, Salo Lewin, Joan A. Liebrick, Harold Light, Lorraine Lipoff, Barbara Baker Lipson, Bertha Loki, Jacob Meyer, Louis Miller, Robert Misrock, Morris Middleman, Max Moster, Melvin Nelson, Hans Neuberger, John Olivin, Stanley Pitkin, Judith Plattman, Hilda Pomerantz, S. Frederick Fred Rabiner, William C. Resnick, Mary Rogaway, Freda Rovich, Maurice Rubenstein, Jeanette Lewis Rubenstein, Rabbi Murray Saltzman, Lorraine Schulberg, Arthur Siegel, Orville Shane, Moishe Shatsky, Meyer Mike Shavzin, William Shevik, Nathan David Simon, Harriet A. Sockott, Thomas N. Spitzer, Chris Spohn, Sally Stolzotz, Ava Talman, Bob Talman, Joe Vicker, Elsie Warshaw, Philip Wexler, Rose White, Cynthia Rich Wood, Elaine Waskow, and Rose White. If anyone else is honoring a memory, you'd like to share their name with us, please do so. Memories of all of them are with us. Our griefs and our sympathies are mingled. We turn to page 294 and rise as we say together the words of Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash me rabbah, ve'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei d'chol bet Yisrael, ba'gala u'vizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach, le'olam u'lemei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shemei d'kudusha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlam arabba min shmaya, בחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. ועושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו amen. May the one who causes harmony on high bring peace to us, to all the people Israel, and to all of the world. And we say,
Amen. Shabbat continues tomorrow morning. We have Torah study online at 9 a.m. We also have Tat Shabbat right here in Poland Chapel, and a 10:30 Shabbat morning service also here in Poland Chapel. And then, of course, tomorrow night, you will all be back with us, but we'll be in the main sanctuary for Avi's show at 7 p.m. And then I also hope that you'll all come back next Friday, also in the main sanctuary for our annual celebration of the life and legacy of Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King, Jr. Always a fantastic service. So lots to look forward to. Something else?
I just wanted to
No, come to
add,
the microphone.
I just wanted to add that part of our MLK celebration weekend, that last year we started the tradition of doing MLK Day of Service on the Monday following our Shabbat worship. And we have a few service projects that you can sign up for. The information was in this week's Beneath Our Dome and today's weekend email. And if you want more information, and it will be in next week's Beneath Our Dome email, or you can call the office to sign up to participate in those projects. Thank you.
and we'll also be joining our friends at Vancouver Avenue First Baptist Church on Sunday, 2 o'clock service at the church. It's a nice way to just continue that weekend. So got an exciting MLK Shabbat weekend, incredible experience.
All right, let's say a motzi together so that we can have some community, and we have blintzes for the onegs. You're right, see, it's the food, as Avi said, it's the food. Yeah, we didn't, blintzes, okay.
Blintzes.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, amen. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, Shabbat
Thank you all.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.